If everyone would like to kind of have a seat, we'll get started here. Well, welcome everybody to Dish, Texas, and a function put on by the Texas Oil and Gas Accountability Project. Several years ago, the town of Dish partnered with the Oil and Gas Accountability Project, and we work with them very closely on some of our projects, and they've been very good to us, and I've tried to be supportive of them, and so it was natural that they should come here and do this, so they asked, and we said we would gladly welcome them to come, and we've got a wonderful crowd showing up tonight, and I really appreciate everybody making it out today. And so with that, I will turn it over to Sharon Wilson with the Texas Oil and Gas Accountability Project. Thanks, Sharon.
Hi. Is this on? I want to thank everyone for coming.
It's on, so you're going to speak into it.
I want to thank everyone for coming, and this is to help us, to give you a chance to help the TCEQ make their 12-hour odor response more effective. And I'm really pleased to say that we have Rob Lawrence with the EPA. He is the Senior Policy Advisor for Energy Issues. And we have Tony Walker, Director of TCEQ Region 4. And I want to be sure and tell you all that Tony Walker works at the TCEQ, and he's under the direction of the commissioners. So your anger, and you are entitled to be angry, but your anger should be directed at the right person or persons. So the more appropriate way to direct your anger might be to the commissioners and the person who appoints the commissioners governor of the area. Yeah. So, I'm Sharon Wilson. I'm with the Texas Oil and Gas Accountability Project, and we're here to talk about the 12-hour odor response. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about Texas OGAP. We're a project of Earthworks, and OGAP, our mission is to reduce the destructive impacts of mineral and energy development on communities. And we probably all recognize that house. We work with citizens across the U.S. and Canada who find themselves in situations like this where big, powerful energy companies can come in and drill just a stone's throw from their homes. about a year ago, well, I guess it was in January, we did a health survey here in Dish and found that 61% of the health effects Dish residents were experiencing were directly attributed to the natural gas emissions. And that study helped motivate TCEQ to change their policy, and we're grateful that they did change their policy to a 12-hour odor response system to respond to the Barnett Shale odor complaints. Now I want to introduce you to Wilma Subra. Wilma is a Texas OGAP steering committee member. She is also on the board of directors of Earthworks, and she is a recipient of a MacArthur Genius Award for her helping of the communities with impacts dealing with toxic chemicals.
So Sharon, I think I'll do it from here and you'll run the computer.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. And welcome back, everyone that's here tonight. As you know, we've come a long way in the community of Dish and in the communities on top of the Barnett Shale, but we still have a long way to go. So on December 13th, Calvin, the mayor of Dish, was doing work in his yard, and he encountered some really offensive and strong odors. And he called DEQ's in Louisiana, and attempted over and over again to get someone to respond. And when he finally did have someone respond, they said a decision was made that they would come out the next day, which was Monday, because they were already planning to come out. So needless to say, we had a call with Tony the next day, and TCEQ actually enacted this program that we're talking about tonight on December 17th. So Calvin had the problem on the 13th, and by the 17th of December 2009, this program was announced and underway. And so what we're trying to talk to you tonight about is the results of it, and the procedure that it established. It was a mechanism for community members to complain to the agency, and for the agency to immediately respond, and at the longest to respond within 12 hours, and come out to the site, meet with the community person making the complaint, and if necessary, meet with the industry that you are proposing was causing the odor complaint or the health complaint. So as a result of citizens' complaints and TCEQ's responses to those complaints, we did an evaluation of the situation over the first 7 months, and late this afternoon we did it over the first 9.5 months. And so I'd like to tell you about the results of that evaluation. Sharon? Okay, got it there. So here you see by county over the Barnett Shale, the number of complaints that were submitted from January 2010 through July 23rd, 2010, basically the first 7 months of the program. There were 256 complaints. 75% of those complaints included odor complaints, and 48% of the complaints were associated with health impacts, and the community was self-reporting their health impacts. Tarrant County and Denton County, where we are tonight in Denton County, had the largest number of complaints. They had 45 and 32 respectively, percentage. So 45 and 32% were from those two counties. The odor complaints consisted of 46 and 32%, and the health impacts 52 and 31%. So again, here you see by county over the Barnett Shale, the total number of complaints by county, the number of odor complaints, and the number of health effects from those complaints. All right, Sharon? And then this afternoon, as we were preparing for tonight's meeting, we were able to get access to some additional information from TCEQ. Whereas Tarrant County in the first 7 months had 114 complaints. From July, the end of July, so it's August, September, and half of October, there were 379 new complaints in Tarrant County. In Denton County, it went from 82 complaints in the first 7.5 months to 241 complaints in August, September, and October. Wise County, 25 up to 64. Johnson, 24 up to 103. Parker, 8 up to 68. Hood, 2 up to 32. And ERAD, 1 up to 22. So I would expect on some occasions TCEQ would look at me and say, well, the program's working well, Mom. There's less and less complaints because the industry is listening to the citizens' complaints and making changes so that the complaints should be less, the air quality should be better. But when you look at the last set of data, when you look at August, September, and half of October, the number of complaints went up dramatically. Okay, Sharon? What happened was, from January through July, 256 total complaints. August, September, and half of October, 653 complaints in just those 2.5 months. That's an increase of 260% in the last 2.5 months. So I would say that yes, the community is doing their job. Yes, you are submitting the complaints. And I'm hoping that the community members who testify after this will indicate that TCEQ is doing their job in coming out and responding to those complaints. But we will hear their issues as soon as I finish and Sharon finishes. So the most prevalent health impacts reported by the citizens listed up here. Sharon?
I need to go back.
Are listed here. Headaches, nausea, respiratory breathing and coughing, dizziness, health, lightheaded, disoriented, and you see the others. If you compare those health impacts to, Calvin just printed out a copy of the health survey we had done. If you look at the analysis of the air we've done in DISH and other communities, and you start comparing the chemicals with the health impacts, these health impacts reported to TCEQ under this 12-hour program actually match. So all the data we've accumulated prior to this time and the TCEQ 12-hour program are demonstrating the same health impacts being experienced by the community members. Okay? The sources of the complaints, of the odor complaints and the associated health impacts are also consistent with previous studies that OGAP and Earthworks have done over the Barnett Shale. And here you see the list of what the community submitted to TCEQ as the source of the odors and the source of the emissions that are causing their health impacts. Drilling wells, production wells, compressors, gas processing facilities, condensate tanks, storage tanks, incinerators, alarm events, hydraulic fracturing processes, saltwater disposal wells, metering stations, treating facilities, overflowing condensates, flares, pipeline. These are the same things that people sat in this room more than 2 years ago and said, we're having odors, severe odors, and it's causing health impacts, and these are the things we think are causing them. And these people have consistently stuck to those stories and those complaints, and these are the same facilities that they are now submitting to TCEQ under this program. So they describe the odors, and again, this was individuals describing to TCEQ